Self-discovery is a journey less traveled. Many of us as women, we struggle from identity issues. As a result, we find ourselves doing decisions, or rather making decisions that we regret later. My name is Lady Anne Mahlako Moho, and welcome to Sistas We Can show. I'm in studio. I've got my lovely, gorgeous ladies. How are you guys?
Hi.
You're looking gorgeous.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
Bongi, please introduce yourself to our viewers.
My name is Bongi Gladness, and I'm part of Sistas We Can. We're having this program, and you are going to know more.
My name is Reboni Mkonto, and I'm also part of Sistas We Can.
Dumelang, nalibizwa laka ke Rorisa Nkuna, and I'm a Sistas We Can mentee.
Sistas We Can was established to assist young girls on their path to self-discovery by giving them tools that will assist them to navigate their journey from teenagehood to adulthood. So in studio, I'm excited that we've got Orori Sang, who's been part of this journey, who's going to tell us more about her journey with Sistas We Can.
Oh, thank you, Sis Mahlaku. I joined Sistas We Can when I was in grade 8, and it has been a very great journey for me, especially when I was in grade 8. I find myself very fortunate that from that fragile point, I was groomed, and I was mentored to be my authentic self and not find myself in a situation where I want to be like someone else, but actually I was drawn into a journey of self-discovery within my age from that time, being involved in school and active things, and also in leadership development with such guidance of people that, it's not just about secular things as well, but spirituality as well, because it plays a role into the journey of self-discovery. And I find myself as well growing in varsity life, walking in being my authentic self. And I would say that has been the work of Sistas We Can. So I would say I'm a testimony of Sistas We Can. Yeah.
I think the reason why I started by you, who introduced how the program has influenced your life. Somebody was asking me, but Mahlaku, did you just one day decide when you want to go tell people about self-discovery? Why? It is a frustration that I had, of seeing young girls around my community not taking charge of their lives. And I had to sit, behave the way they behave, you understand? Because in most cases, we always blaming the government and the parents, or they're not doing anything. And I said, Mahlaku, Luena, do something that, that will help them on their path. This is something I struggled with growing up. I didn't have somebody who can hold me by my hand and say, this is the path that you need to take. I mean, we've got sisters, we've got mothers, but in most cases, we are even scared to talk to our mothers about the challenges that we face in our own personal lives. That is why a lot of young people, some they even resort into drugs, but you don't even understand. So us not having mentors growing up, us not having people that we can talk to, can make us to end up, doing wrong things out there. So Bongi, I just want to find out, how did you become the part of this program, Sistas We Can?
Yeah, Sistas We Can, I started knowing about it in 2012. And then I was just looking, and just, peeping and checking what they do and being that person who's looking
from the
inside, from the inside, like when they say, there's that say that says, from inside out.
Yeah.
So that's what I was doing, and I actually loved everything, because now everything that they've been doing, their programs and all the things that they've been doing from that time, I've been there. It's just that now I was not part until this year, 2022, where I just felt like, it's time. Now I want to be part of them fully, and I'm fully in, hey?
And you're not going anywhere.
I ain't going anywhere.
And Reboni, please tell us briefly how you became part of Sistas We Can and what have you benefited so far?
I joined Sistas We Can at the most exciting time when they were actually doing an online radio show. So I joined as a radio show presenter, and life has never been the same, because I discovered so much about myself. You don't know that you can be a radio presenter until you actually do it. So I'm so grateful to Sistas We Can, because I've discovered characteristics and traits and all sorts of talents that that would have never come out.
I'm so excited that you say that, Wenaruboni, because when we initially started as Sistas We Can, it was a program that was designed for young girls, because we were helping young girls, like I said, helping them on their journey from being, teenagers to adults. So, from dealing with people who are from the ages of 16 up until 25, and now having people who are at your age and Ruboni's age as well, being part of the program and actually saying, I also benefited from this mentorship program. It's so exciting, because now we are moving away from young women women. So now it's something that is benefiting women of all ages. Because I struggled with my own identity issues for a very long time. Even now, there's certain things that I still question about myself. When somebody comes and says to me, actually, Matlaku, you're a good speaker. I'm like, me? Nah. First of all, I speak fast. Some of the times when I speak, I don't even hear myself. How can you say I'm a good speaker? So I'm still discovering myself, because I believe that self-discovery, like we mentioned, is a core purpose of the program. It's self-discovery. It's a journey. It's not something that you can just say, it's a journey that you are traveling every day. There's so many things that I discover about myself on a day-to-day basis. Self-identity issues is a real serious problem, especially among us women. We struggle. I can tell Riboni right now that she's beautiful. She could be doubting in herself that she's beautiful, because you really do not take that, like we've got a poor self-image of ourselves. I don't know why. Even though you know that you're beautiful, but you still struggle to believe that you're beautiful. So self-discovery is very important. So I want us just to dive into the topic and just discuss, this topic in depth. What do you think of self-discovery?
For me, what's self-discovery, I think from what I was taught during the sessions that we'd have back then in Valcom, I think Osming was also part of it. It was more about of knowing who you are and knowing whose you are. I think with the session, what stood out for me was that when people would introduce yourself, like Rorisang Omang, and I'll be like now I'm a teacher, and that's just that's how I define myself, and that's not actually the definition, that's not who you are. It's your qualification, you're yourself, your authentic being. So through those journeys and sessions that we actually entered through, I actually then discovered who I am. Like, I'm a child of God, and there are other things as well in my life that I'm still discovering as yet of finding myself in my character traits as well as an individual. So there's a whole lot, in the whole self-discovery thing. They're just not looking specifically into my career.
Asibambe lapho Rorisang. Babukeli kuningi esazokuzwa when coming to ile topic of self-discovery. Sicela ukuthi nibambeni kancane, siyabuya after the ad break. Welcome back. You're still watching Sisters We Can. I am Mahlako Lady and Mukhu, and today we are discussing self-discovery. Rorisang, you mentioned a very important thing when you said you are not your profession. Because sometimes when you ask a person, "Wana umang, are nakina Rorisang an Americator," but I didn't ask you what you do. I asked you, who are you? So I like what you just said there. Ribon, what do you think of this topic of self-discovery? What can you say about self-discovery or identity? Self-identity.
For me, self-discovery speaks to identity, which encompasses your personal characteristics, your traits, your values, your principles, even your physical attributes. It's how you identify, how you perceive yourself, how you look at yourself as an individual internally, and also your surroundings, your social trait as well. So that's how you perceive yourself, actually.
Okay, Bongi, what can you say when Anka self-discovery?
All right, because she actually stole my lines here and there, but then now this is what I will say. Self-discovery, self-discovery is something else. It takes me back to when I was a teenager, where now I didn't know exactly like who I am, and I was kind of taking people's characters and make them mine, where now I was looking for myself in people, because I didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
So that actually made me now sit in and think about myself as a person and ask the inner Bongi to say, who are you exactly? And in that way, when I started questioning myself about who I am, that's when now I started being spiritual. And I that made me to be spiritual. That's when I started going to church a lot now, to enter into the things that were happening in church, like different programs at church. Okay. I wanted to find myself in those programs, because now I started asking myself now, the inner Bongi. And the inner Bongi now went in and became spiritual. And then I started now finding myself there. And then that's when I always knew that I'm a singer, because I started singing at church when I was 8 years old. But it was not actually for me to find out who I am. It was me realizing that I can sing. And then now, when I started now being deeper in the spirituality, that's when I started finding out who I am. Oh, wow. And I stopped looking into other people and make them me, and make myself them. I started now finding out that I have talents, I can speak, I can do all of the things, because I became even a youth leader and everything. That's how I I found out who I am. So self-discovery, it can mean a lot because you can find who you are in so many ways. Because some people can actually do that by just asking themselves, who are you? And then look into the mirror. Other people would say, I would look into the mirror and say, who are you? And just find out. But then with me, I had to be spiritual to find out who I am till today, till now.
Wow, that's very important what you're saying. And there's a quote that I read in one of my researches as I was doing research on self-discovery. It says a lot of young people, they when they grow up, they stop identifying themselves by their families and they start identifying themselves by their friends. When you mentioned Hore, you didn't know who you are, so you were finding yourself you were trying to find yourself in everybody.
In everybody, yeah.
And it's very tricky. Hey, it's very tricky. This journey, guys, is not easy. Sometimes it can cause you to really have to break yourself down, you know, because there are so many things that you need to, like you spoke about searching within you, you know, and also the issue of spirituality, because, you know, I also believe, Hore, if you really want to know something, you need to go ask the manufacturer about it. If let's say I'm driving a BMW right now and it gets stuck, you know, I can call a mechanic to come and fix it, you understand? And a mechanic will fix it, maybe I look at more, but if mechanic was we have to take it back to the manufacturer.
Yes.
So the issue of self-discovery, I always say, it's so difficult for you to know who you are if you don't know your creator.
Yes.
And here I'm not talking about church, I'm not talking about any church, I'm talking about spirituality. So the issue of spirituality is very important. When you want to discover yourself, develop a relationship with God. Ask him, why did you bring me here on earth?
Yeah.
Why did you create me? You understand? Those whys, they will lead you into you discovering a lot of things about yourself. Ribon, I just want to find out, for you, how has the journey of self-discovery been?
Okay, in my experience, it's got to do, it's all about looking into yourself, looking like it's an internal thing, it's not anything external. So like you say, people will say, look in the mirror, but I still feel like the mirror is somewhat external. So looking into yourself, so where do you even get time to look at yourself? Number one, I would say get rid of outside noise, get rid of unnecessary things. So you cannot be watching TV all day and think that you're going to know anything or discover anything about your own life. Or you cannot be on your phone the whole day and think that your life is going to go anywhere. You cannot be playing games or just wasting time. You have to sit yourself down, set some goals, think about your life, look into so it's about you. You have to do the work. It cannot happen automatically or happen by some magic. You are going to have to do the work so that you get somewhere. So we must face ourselves. I think the sad thing about our generation, or like the current generation, is that people are running away from themselves. Yeah. You cannot run away from yourself forever because you will never get to know this person here.
Wow, Sis Reboni, I think that helped me a lot. Like when she says you have to look into yourself, I think that's how Sistas We Can came into my life to teach me how to look into myself and be myself, you know. I know a lot of people always like, Rorisang, you're always busy. Like, he's always like, you're always busy, you're always doing this, you're always doing that, you know. I think that's was a way of me finding myself. And I'm grateful that I did it not alone, but I was mentored through the journey, you know. I think when Sistas We Can started off, like it was like, I thought like, are these people going to tell us what to do with our lives? And I was like, no, I'm not in for that. But looking into the journey, like as they would also bring in people from outside, you know, to just come and encourage us. They would be even at camps as well. And what I learned throughout the journey was that as much as they'll just share their own stories about themselves and let us make our own decisions about our lives. And the most important thing was more about prayer and looking into myself of me being myself, because we were young, different girls there. So we had to be like, being the person that you are, you know, differently, and having that relationship with God individually. So I think Sister Bonnie has got it, that it's very important that you have to look within yourself. So I'm grateful that Sisters can give me that opportunity.
Yo, ladies, there's a lot that we need to discuss, especially on this topic of self-discovery. And I'm sure there's a viewer out there who's watching and is asking herself or himself, but how do I embark on this journey? Viewers, please don't go anywhere. We will be back after the break. Welcome back. You're still watching Sistas We Can. My name is Mahlaku Lady and Mukhoe. I'm still with my beautiful and gorgeous ladies. Rorisang, are you still good?
I'm still good, sis.
Bongi, I noticed before we went on the ad break, which you had something that you wanted to share with us.
Yeah, I just wanted to continue on self-discovery, speaking about me, like myself. when I was a teenager, when I used to close myself up and I was a moody child. And I still didn't understand who I am, because the only thing that I knew is to be in the room, read, study school stuff, and I was also focused on excelling at school and not caring about anything else. And also, even with my relatives, my family members, when there are gatherings, I was always not there. My mother would just leave me because I was not interested in going and mingling, in being in like around people. So that actually ilang ketsa hore ke be. And then, okay, let me just say, my mother it had to abu mafung in everywhere. I be like, spongile batu babu ka wena ba re ikgantsha tlamelo go change o tsamaye le nna every time ba always do lo hana tsamaye le nna. Now people reputation yaka, now people ba re wena o ikgantsha. And then that's actually hurt me, because my mother I saw worried about the whole thing. So self discovery is very important, because mo teng ke mo ke le ka reng, you know what, spongile, why the why came in.
Why you so?
Why only so? Why must obe so? Like hula isa halang wena unahano ro utlamilo obe so. Then that's how I actually now started coming out and to ask myself as Borboni and Abori, it's about you. So that's when ki ipotsa heli na dipotso tse tsa why ke tlameha ke be moody, why ke tlameha ke ke kwaletse and focus on studies and or excelling at school, being a genius. So I kind of now came in and said, you know what, it ends here. That's how I had to also come out of the cocoon of always like closing myself up. And that's how I actually discovered a whole lot of other things. And that's how I actually started being involved at church and being in the youth programs and all the other things that were happening then. So it's important to know like the how, and the asking yourself, the inner being, the spongile and the bongi that is inside.
You know, you mentioned Tabaya asking yourself, hey guys, this is so difficult. This journey is difficult. I'm not going to lie. Ukila bona, you know, it's good to have us about praise abare, yo bongi, umotle, unalima matle, your attitude, or ratabat. Mara, kinalin something in a lunkesa, something ki tabe huba on this journey, because ukila bona having to confront the bad things about you. When I reborn attitude, how right about you, like you mentioned the thing, you're moody. A lot of people, they don't want to embark on this journey because they are scared of discovering who they really are. You know, I was sitting with this other lady the other day, and he has been angtanda band. Actually, I've got quite a few friends who watch on. He's angtanda band. Like, how does this person really get to the point where you say, when I write about? You understand what I mean? So they're just, it's not an easy journey that anybody can just decide to embark on. It's very difficult because when you start asking the how or the why, you are provoking certain things inside of you. Comfortable.
Yes.
Like I said, you know, it's so easy to praise you're a good speaker. We all like compliments.
Yeah.
Mahara. No, I'm one person, I will never go to you and say, Bongi, tell me the things that you don't like about me. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear you say, you're a giver, you're loving, you know, but those why questions, we need to ask them. Like now, for instance, guys, something happened to me when I was 22 years old. I don't even know if I should mention it on national TV, but I'm going to say it because I know maybe there's somebody out there who's watching who might be going through the same thing that I went through. So at the age of 22, I met this friend of mine. I was dating my high school sweetheart. High school college. And then one time, this other friend of mine like, stop wasting time with these small boys. You know, how about you know? I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, hey, there's somebody that I want to introduce you to. And somebody like, yeah, no, but you know, he's a politician, so uska mind, he's going to give you the life that you want. And I remember teaching the small boy, his heart was really heartbroken. But I needed whatever that the friend of mine, the hype life that the friend of mine was now introducing to me. Then I hooked up with this guy, then we started dating. And then now when I look back, I'm like, if they were to say to you right now that you know yourself, that you've embarked on this journey to self-discovery, would you ever date the same guy that you dated at that age? And I said, no. You know why? Because I realized because at that time I didn't know myself and I was lacking certain things. I took that love that guy was giving to me as is the normal love that you get. I was yearning for a father, you know, because I didn't have a father in my life. So I was yearning for that fatherly love, hearing my father saying to me, I love you every day. So because this man came into my life and he told me that I love you, to me it was more like a genuine love that I no, I was seeing my father in him.
Yes.
So there's so many things that you can discover when you sit by yourself to say, really, Riboni, you are an accountant or you're a doctor. Do you really want to be a doctor? No, I became a doctor because my mother said, you know. So if you don't ask yourself these questions, how are you going to then, you know, discover yourself? You know, how are you going to again get to know what is it that you
know,
like?
saying that, I'm actually thinking about myself. That's also my story. What you just told now, it's actually what I also kind of, I won't say much, but then I'll just be short to say, I've gone through that point where I was looking for my father in men. And it happens a lot with a lot of people, because I've got even friends who were raised by single mothers that are going through the same. So I also went through that, where I just thought, you know what, maybe this guy will actually love me more than my peers, because I thought my peers are just wasting time. I remember even when I was at university, I didn't want to date in campus. I was like, you know. So I know very well what you're talking about, because I've gone through that as well, to a point where I just felt like I ain't dating kids. I ain't dating kids. And kids were what? My peers, exactly. So it's like looking for your father in
someone else, Rorisang, you know, before we close the show, I just want for you to tell your peers out there, how has having a mentor or being a part of the mentorship program helped you? Just keep it brief.
I think for me that it reminds me of the statement of Sistas We Can, where like my past does not determine my future, and that always made me not to compare myself with my peers a lot, especially in varsity. Like, hey, Rorisang, why osajole? Like, why are you still keeping yourself? Why are you still doing this? Why are you still doing that? And that never moved me, because I know who I am, you know, and I know that I would even send you texts like, this is what's happening, and you know, we would pray together, and that has actually helped me to be true to myself and not just go around with this, because a lot can happen in varsity life, especially at the residences, but just help me to know that this is me and this is what I stand for. So yeah.
Thank you so much. Reboni, any closing remarks?
Okay, I would say self-introspection, make the time, do the work, you are worth it.
Bongi, anything?
Well, me closing, in closure, I will just say, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all will follow. So you have to search yourself through God or in God or through the word of God.
I think, ladies, you know what, this topic, like I said, is very broad, and we need to really dive into it more. You know, we're going to have another more time. We're going to speak about more on the how and how to go about it. But I think for me, what I would say is that find somebody that you can walk this journey with. Part of mentorship, it's very important to have a mentor, somebody that you can be accountable to, you know, because walking this journey alone is not easy. No man is an island. So you need somebody that you can be, you know, holding your hand, like Rorisang said, she used to text me and say, oh, Smatlako, it's difficult, pray with me. So part of mentorship is just having that person that you say, I'm watching you, I'm here for you. I may not have all the answers, but I'm willing to walk this journey with you. Nyabonga Babukele Makaya for giving us your time. It has been a great and interesting time with the ladies here in studio. I am looking forward to seeing you again next week. Stay tuned. Thank you.